Hi everyone! Today we are going to do two science experiments. And the first one is like a water and pepper experiment, and then the second one is like a milk and food coloring experiment. But they all have like the same properties of what's going to happen. And so today the materials we need is really you need two bowls or plates. Plates I think work a little better, but you could use either bowls or plates. So I have like a bowl here. This is going to be with the water and pepper experiment. And then this one is going to be with the milk and food coloring experiment. So now let's start with the pepper experiment. And we're going to put our food coloring and paper plate aside along with the milk. I'm going to put it aside. And then let's just focus on our pepper and water experiment first. So I have a cup of water right here. It's just regular water. You can pour it into this bowl. It doesn't have to be filled up, around halfway is fine. It doesn't really matter. And now we have our pepper. I have some grind pepper here, and I'm just gonna grind some pepper all over this water, right? If my pepper will come out. And my pepper is not coming out. Let's see. There's a little bit of pepper coming out. It's not, I think I have some white pepper here. That's why it's not showing up real good. Let's see. So you just pour a bunch of the pepper in, right? Okay, we are not going to. So I have some bits of pepper all over, right, of the water. And now this is the cool part of the experiment. I have some soap. Oh, also soap is a very important part of this. So make sure you have your soap because that's what's going to cause the whole experiment to work. And now you just put it on your finger. I'm gonna put some soap on my finger, just enough to cover like your pointer finger. And then we are going to, we're gonna dip it in here. And then all the pepper, see, all the pepper is going away. Like they're afraid of all the soap. See, all the pepper are going towards the side. And none of it is really sticking onto my finger, right? So this one doesn't have any soap. I'm gonna have some of the pepper. Look, all that pepper stuck. But then if I put my hand, none of the pepper is getting stuck to this hand with soap, right? See, compare. There's one with lots of pepper and one with no pepper at all because there's soap on this. So that's like what's the purpose of this experiment. See, more pepper is getting collected while no pepper is getting collected on this finger, which is a very important part of our daily lives because soap is a very important substance that cleans our hands, right? So if I put some soap back in here, I'm just gonna wipe this off. Make sure you have a couple paper towels. I'm just gonna wipe off my hands of the soap. And as you learned here, we know that washing our hands is super important because look, the pepper was something that we could see and we could touch and feel. But this is really similar to germs in our everyday lives. Germs always stick to our hands, and so if you don't wash them with soap and water, they won't come off. And so that's a very important lesson we learned, that if you don't have any soap on your hands, the germs won't come off. And that's just an important life lesson we have to understand in order to keep our hands clean in our everyday lives. And also the germs, or like the pepper, kind of spreads out, and that means that like the germs are actually being removed and basically going down the drain when we are washing our hands. Okay, now we are going to do our second experiment, which is something similar to our pepper experiment, but I think it's a lot cooler, which is with food coloring and milk. And so now I'm going to transition from my lots of pepper to a plate. Sorry. a plate, and then I just have an empty plate right here. Now I'm gonna pour some of my milk. It doesn't matter really which kind of milk, just make sure it's like regular milk and not like soy milk or almond milk, things that so make sure you use regular milk. It doesn't matter if it's like 2% or whole milk, just any type of milk. And then we pour some of the milk, make sure it's all covering the plate. So I have just enough to cover the plate. It doesn't have to be a very thick layer, a thin layer. And now I have a couple colors. It doesn't really matter if you have only one color of food coloring, but I have a couple colors of food coloring here. And I'm gonna take them out of like a purple, I have an orange, and then I have a pink, and then I have a green at the very end. Now, so we have a plate full of milk. Now we're gonna drop like 1 or 2 drops of food coloring in the center or anywhere really, but make sure you don't spread it or shake it anywhere. So I'm just gonna drop a couple drops of food coloring of different colors. You could drop them like anywhere really, and then do some purple, and then some of this orange. And then if you think it's not enough, see, I feel like I should want more, a little there. You could always do some more. If you only have one color, that's okay too. But I think it's cooler with a lot of colors. And I think I want some more pink. You can already tell it's a little bit spreading, but that's okay because the cool part comes with the soap. So soap is our main ingredient of this experiment and the pepper experiment. So now, also again, we put our soap onto our hands. I'm going to squeeze some onto my hand, right? Now, I don't think I need that much actually. I'll wipe some off. Okay, now I still have some on my hands, right? I spread it. You could use both hands. Now we're gonna touch the areas where there are food coloring drops. So I'm gonna touch it. Whoa, and it's spreading. All of it is spreading. Once again, like our science experiment with and then you just hold it there and you could tell like it's like all spreading. If you have a toothpick handy, you could also like dip it in the soap and then it will all spread into lots of colors. And this is very similar to our science experiment, our pepper experiment, sorry, because it is just spreading, and that's like what soap does. It spreads things apart. And I think this is a really cool experiment to show that once again, soap is a very powerful substance that will remove all your germs. And if you think about like creating different things with it, see, look, it's continuing to spread as I move around. If you think yours stops spreading a little, you can always add more soap if that is, if you think that it's, but you could also use a toothpick and draw very cool patterns in this soap. Isn't that a cool? And then I know, look at my fingers, they're a little dyed and stuff, but I think it is very, these wash off very easily. Whoa, it's very, very dark. But if look, it's just still going. It just continues to go because the soap is already in there from my hands. So it just continues to spread. Whoa, it's going super fast right now. You guys see that? And then you guys could always follow along with this at home. And I know my fingers are a little, but if you just wash it off a couple of times, it won't harm you in any way. It's just food coloring. We eat this anyway in our candies and stuff, but it won't harm you anyway. See, now we have like a very nice pattern of colors, and it really depends what colors you like, but you can see that it just continues to move around. You guys could play with it, and I think that really teaches our lesson of soap being this dispelling property that just spreads things out. And same with the pepper on over here. So the pepper, if you put in more soap, it doesn't really disperse again because there's already soap in there. So if you want to do that experiment again, you would have to change out the water because that is already like if you think about germs, the germs from your hands, if you're like washing them with soap and then rinse it down the drain, that water has a lot of germs. If you put more soap in it, that water still is going to have germs. So that's why this pepper experiment doesn't really work anymore. But I think if you have like some colors left on the bottom of this milk experiment and then like continuing use soap and press it, I think it will continue to disperse because water is a little different from the milk. So it will continue to disperse. And I think that does end our experiment today. It just teaches us that the importance of washing hands to get rid of all the germs so you don't eat it or you don't spread it anywhere is a very important property of soap. So make sure you guys always wash your hands every single day after going to the bathroom, and maybe like once you do some messy science experiments, you should go, I'm gonna go wash my hands with some soap so none of the germs that I had with the milk or the pepper stayed on my hands. And I think that concludes our science experiment for today. Hope you guys enjoyed this experiment. This science experiment was recorded from our online classes. So if you would like to sign up for our online classes, it's in the link in the description below. And you guys could join our weekly Zoom meetings, which is like an online video platform. And then you guys can follow along with a lot of other students, and we will post the materials for the science experiments beforehand. And all you have to do is just join at the right time, and you guys can enjoy watching us do the science experiment while you do them at home. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. See you guys next time.